welcome to the Bloomberg Business of Sports. We are here in San Francisco during Super Bowl week. I'm joined by NFL Hall of Famer, media personality, entrepreneur, Michael Irvin. Michael, thanks so much for joining the Bloomberg Business of Sports.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you guys having me. And yeah, this is pretty nice to be back out here in San Francisco. I'm with Hard Rock Bets and having a chance to be at another Super Bowl, especially here in San Francisco, where I've had so many encounters. You know what I mean? I went through this town to get to my Super Bowl. I had to go through the people in this town.
Right.
So it's always interesting to be back in San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, I did it a different way, right? On this side.
On this side.
Yeah.
Right. More analyst, more being an analyst than being a player. You know, you can hate me less this way. It's the best way. Now, when it was a player, I was coming to whoop your ass.
Right.
Ain't nothing you can do about that.
Right.
But as an analyst, we're just coming to talk about the game. I won't be catching touchdowns, so you can hate me less.
So let's talk about the Cowboys for a little bit. You know, we got to
Yes.
start there. They missed the playoffs for the second consecutive year. What do they need to turn it around right now?
Listen, I had dinner with Coach Schottenheimer the other day. I got a chance to see him at dinner, and we were talking, and I really feel comfortable, and I'm really excited about the direction. You know, what we talked about was tightening up the defense and the new defensive coordinator that we just hired and his approach towards the game and how symbiotic those two are and working together, you know, with Coach Schottenheimer handling offense and him being able to provide a defense to supplement and complement the offense. So I really like the direction. I really like the conversation I had with them and the things that they want to do. We got an offense, you just got to make it more consistent. You got the tools now to put a defense together, and let's see what happens.
So
I think it's a
feeling
good
good.
shot that they could be in the hunt for this thing next year.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting
yeah, with
take
George Pickens. But the number one thing is you got to get George Pickens signed, you know, and say we're going to play football with winning offenses, putting up 35 points a game, and put a defense together that could try to just slow somebody down.
Yeah. So, Michael, I want to talk about the ventures that you have going on. You just launched a new podcast with Netflix and your own production company. Let's start with the production company, Playmaker Productions, right? Tell us more about that and what people can expect, what kind of content.
Man, one thing I've always enjoyed for years and years of doing TV is telling the stories. And now, for the first chance, because of the way things have gone, you get a chance. Everybody gets a chance to do that. Before, it was just a few big networks, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, so they could tell the story. Now everybody can tell stories. And the truth of the matter is we're all supposed to be telling stories. The Bible says, confess one to another, pray ye one for the other. In this we shall find healing. That means the more we tell stories and tell the things that are going on in our lives, the more we can recognize the God in our lives, the more encouragement we get, because we realize we're all going through the same things, and other people at some different spectrum of some different place in the spectrum of whatever you're going through. So the more we talk about it, the more we realize, the more we help each other. That's the whole idea. I want to tell stories to point to the real heroes. We get a chance to be heroes on the weekend when we catch a touchdown. So no matter how bad your week has gone, what you've dealt with, you catch that winning touchdown, everybody loves you. And you get to pat people on the back. I want to shine a bright light on real heroes, like the first responders. You know,
So it's not just going to be
and
sports
tell
then?
stories. God no. No. I want to shine highlights on like the mothers of players, single mothers of players who have worked so hard to watch kids to get their kid to a place, things like that. People that we don't that are real heroes, and we don't give that hero pat on the back to.
Really?
Those are the stories I really want to tell.
Wow, that's definitely a different, take for you and different, venture for, what you already are doing and obviously have already done.
Right. I'm gonna still venture into sports and everything and put it around sports. Because let's be real here, sports is the greatest, I think, connector we have. We're all so drawn to sports. The only thing we're this drawn to is politics, and it's divisive. If we don't have sports, we're in trouble.
Right.
It's the only thing that brings us together. It's the only time we'll get over those other gangs, the red and blue and Democrat, Republican, all of that stuff is when we start thinking football colors. So that's what I want to come in through sports, but bring the real life to the real people, and give a pat on the back to the real heroes. Yeah.
So you also have a Netflix show that just, premiered, The White House.
The White House.
For people who don't know where that name comes from, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, you can never know. You can never not know where that name comes from. The name comes from the White House, the top house. And I like to say a double entendre to the name, but even more than that. First of all, it's probably the most recognizable name in the world. In the world. And think about it. And for what you're talking about is in the documentary, the Netflix documentary, we as a team, or I did with my team, I should say, we had an extra house that we called the White House. It was a little place that we could say we went to commingle at all the time and brought friends to commingle with us and hang out. So, I'm a spiritual man, and I like to make sure I'm not running from the pain of my yesterday, but running to the promise of my tomorrow. So why not take that same name that the devil meant for evil and everybody tries to throw on me for evil and say, well, I'll bury him with it, and turn it into, that's not a burial. That was a planting. You planted me and I grew something else out of it. So now the White House becomes something great. And by the time we're all done with what we're doing, it'll be put in their minds as something great.
That's going to be what they remember.
That's what it is. Yeah. But I'm going to draw back on your knowing. You're going to tune in. What the hell? He called it what? Are you serious? And then you'll tune in. and think about in the White House. In the White House, what do you have? You have rooms, right? You have a situation room. Me, Brandon Marshall, the Michael Beasley I had on the charts, Haley. We all have had situations. You got to have a situation to come sit in the situation room at the White House to tell your story. And we're going to tell the story for the glory. You know what I mean? Everybody know. Let me tell you, you share stories to help people. We watch games to help ourselves. Why do we watch games? We watch games so we can get strength. We see a team that comes back from a deficit. Then we feel like there's something, we're in a deficit in our lives, and we can come back from it too. That's what you're gleaming from those games, and that's what we're trying to do. We're going to glean good things and move it to good things. And the White House, that's a great name. That's a great name. So come on to the situation room and talk about your situation at the White House. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, so you're here with Hard Rock Bet. Tell us more about that. Obviously, it's not something you could have done as a player, having a partnership with a betting platform, but... It's so good that you asked me this. It's so good that you asked. It's perfect, girl. You did your work. Girl, give me some dap on that. You did your thing, girl. Because you're right. This is my first time working with anybody in this area, in this field. And it's so perfect because Hard Rock Bets, Hard Rock, that's where I had my Hall of Fame party. And they've always been great. It's home. It's Florida. That's where I'm from. Miami plays right there at the Hard Rock, So the partnership for me was simple, and it was easy, and it was home, and it was family. So I'm excited. And it is my first time. Because I've been working with the NFL for years, and I used to watch people out here every year come around and walk around with these shirts on, and I could never do it. I don't know why the NFL does that to you. I could never do it, but they were working with the gambling companies, but I couldn't do it. Right. They wouldn't let me do it. But right in the game, they were like, all right, what about me? So now that I can do it, I went right, I partnered with family. And that's what that is. But there's no better. There's no one better right now. And if you go right now to the game, 4.5 point spread, Hard Rock Bet. Got this thing
you right have now. Some skin in the big game?
Well, it's going to be a great game. I'm so excited about it because when you look at these kinds of defenses that don't give up much, in each place is there's stuff they overcome, their great stories to tell. Is it Drake made this early, having this kind of year and this kind of career, where he's jumping into the Tom Brady's and the Patrick Mahomes as early winners of Super Bowls, and you know what we project for those two guys and the kind of career they had. Or what a hell of a story about a Sam Darnold who started in New York, they shot so many holes in him. Boom, boom, boom. You're not good over here. You're not good over there. You're not good over here. You're not good over here. And he holds on to who he believes himself to be and get his team to this Super Bowl, leaving a wake of stuff, a whole bunch of stuff in his wake. The Jets still horrible. Minnesota
yes,
fired their GM for letting them go. You know, so he, just like I just told you, he took all the dirt that people were trying to throw on him to bury him, and he turned that into a planting, and now he's grown great things too.
Yeah.
So this is great storylines in this game.
Michael, as we wrap up here, I want to get your take on something. The NFL's been doing a lot with expansion into the global market.
Yes, I love it.
Would you ever have wanted to play for a team in another country?
Oh yeah. Would I ever want to go to another country and play? Yeah, we went to Mexico, but it was preseason and everything like that. But absolutely, I love when we do this. I love that we're making this slowly a more world game and not just our own thing. If it brings us together in America, and when you go globally, and I've done those games, broadcasted them and everything, those people show up and they're out there and they love this game, man. And the difference they don't leave. Like here, when one team's winning, everybody else starts leaving. Over there, they don't leave. The game's over, and we're still in the stadium. Everybody's singing these songs, and the game is over.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, so you know, you even look at how they do it. That's the kind of stuff that brings people together.
Yeah.
So everybody, either you vote for that team, you play for that team, you like this person, like that person. We're all singing together, and there's such a power in it.
If you had to pick a country for a team, if you would have wanted to play.
Brazil. You ain't got to play with it, boy. You ain't got to play with it, boy. Hey,
Might be a couple reasons for
a
that.
whole bunch of reasons. That's so funny you said that. I got my mouth, I run it too much, but I'm going to tell you the truth to her. There's years ago, we were trying to determine where we were going to move the Pro Bowl. And I was helping them on the committee to talk about it. And I suggested Rio. My first suggestion. And I was like, Rio. Like, let's go to Rio. And they were like, boy, there's so much trouble we get in Rio. I said, you're right, Rio. So, and they go to Brazil now. You know what I mean? They went last year. Blew my mind when they went last year. I was like, oh, my God. They fought me when I suggested Rio. And now they're in Rio. They went over there. So, that's one of my favorite places in the world.
Amazing. Well, Michael, thanks so much for joining the Bloomberg Business of Sports. We had a great time talking to you.